Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom and I have just witnessed Millwall 1, Bristol City 2. Millwall getting 1-0 up, getting a penalty in the second half, missing the penalty, and then Bristol City snatching 2 goals to get the comeback win. They are in 8th place now, 1 game left, 69 points for them, 70 points for Borough, 70 points for Derby, and all the Bristol City fans will be supporting Swansea tomorrow night. Derby go to Swansea. That's their game in hand. And if they lose, we get a quite fun final day around that 6th, 7th, 8th playoff shootout. Could possibly have 3 teams within 1 point of each other, all playing off for that 6th place playoff position. But Millwall let Bristol City off the hook there with that penalty. Here is what happened. Millwall lineup, it's a 4-4-2. Martin in goal, Romeo, Pearce, Cooper, Meredith are the back 4, Tunnicliffe down the right of midfield, Leonard Williams centre midfield, Ferguson down the left, Gregory and Morrison up front. We know from last season that's normally Gregory pushed right on with Morrison just sort of dropped off him. Bristol City is a 4-4-1-1, more of a defined number 10 in this team. So O'Leary in goal, Hunt, Callis, Webster, Kelly the back 4, Vyman down the right. It was Walsh and Pack in the centre of midfield, Patterson down the left but drifting in a lot. Brownhill is going to play off Famara. Jeju up front, 9 minutes until the first shot on goal. Walsh, it's right-footed low, well wide. And you can see straight away Millwall have put a low block in, a deep back 4, quite narrow. We know that Cooper and Pearce will head away balls all game long. The midfield sit not far in front of them. I saw them do this at Derby and win. You need imagination to play through this, and we know, this has been my criticism of Bristol City, no real playmaker in there, no deep line playmaker. Pack doesn't do that. No number 10 as such. Well, not in this half. That's going to be the setup. Can Bristol City play through? 14, Kelly plays Patterson into the channel here. Romeo is caught up the pitch. Patterson's one-on-one with Pearce, who backs off and backs off. He doesn't want a foot race with Patterson here. Patterson into the box, shapes it right-footed. Martin makes the save to his left. 21, good play down the right here. Patterson feeds Hunt. Jeju nods it back. It's a last-ditch tackle by Romeo to snuff out Vyman, who's following in. He's coming off the flank here. Yellow for Brownhill on Romeo down the right after a nice give and go there. 25, Williams lets one under his foot in midfield. Out it goes to Hunt. He swings it in right-footed. Patterson is in the centre. Flicks the header goalwards. Would have been a difficult header, this one. Gets a good contact on it, but it floats up and over. Don't know what happened. This is complete guesswork, but maybe Hunt, when he followed through, might have kicked the bottom of someone's foot or something like that, because that's his last involvement in the game here. And on comes Pisano. They play with 10 men for a minute or so. Pisano comes on at right back for Hunt. Game settles down now. That for some reason that kind of stops the momentum that Bristol City had. But on 39 minutes, it's a big chance for Jeju here, and Webster, brilliant. I know I'm biased from his Ipswich days, but lovely bit of skill, pulls it out of the air and then just swivels his body and completely does Lee Gregory here. Steps out of defence, Alan Hansen style, and he slides it down the right-hand side to Vyman. Vyman's in a good position. He crosses it all the way across low. Patterson's there. It goes past the forwards, but Patterson recycles it, cuts it back to Jeju, who's going to swivel and shoot and completely fluffs it. He's in the 6-yard box. Probably should have scored. Now, funny thing about this is that Millwall had spent the previous couple of minutes trying to kind of play around and play through and round the outside of Bristol City's press. Didn't work at all. Didn't work for them. So they go to the last season's tactics here, and it's a bit old school. It's a bit direct. Meredith has the ball in the left back position. He's up the pitch, so he's on halfway line. He hits the diagonal. Morrison pulls off. The centre halves are well positioned, but Morrison, he's a big wily bugger, isn't he? He wins the header and he directs it beautifully into the box for Lee Gregory. He takes one touch on the right foot, swivels, hits it on the volley, and before you can say Route 1, it's smashed past O'Leary in the goal. And from Bristol City having a chance at one end, Millwall have gone down the other. They've gone back to what really worked well for them last season. I loved coming down here and watching this type of football last year. Direct, intense, a bit quicker. You know, they did press a bit more last year. And Gregory, who I'm told might not be playing here for much longer, his contract's up, swivels and volleys into the corner. He's so practiced at that art, feeding off the corners, feeding off the flicks. It's a really good one. It's not just hit and hope, this. Very smacked of Quinn and Phillips at Sunderland under Peter Reid, because the header's really nicely directed by Morrison. And Millwall have the lead on 40 minutes. 41 fed down the centre here, down the throats of the centre half. They're a bit shaken up here. Webster gets in a muddle. Gregory robs him, and Gregory does a fatal mistake in this, because I think he expects Webster to swing straight back into the back of him, but I think Webster slips down and Gregory kind of does this step over, and there's no need to do it. He could just swivel and shoot here, but that gives Webster the time to just come back in, and they block it out there. It's in Millwall's favour here. As I say, the centre halves are shaken up here. 43, Patterson forward again on the left, curls the right foot, similar to when he ran up against Pearce. Getting closer now. 44, Bristol City, they're sleeping again at the back, and Gregory's in behind, chasing on, being the nuisance that we know he can be. O'Leary out and sweeps that one up. 44, Walsh takes the yellow card. Pro foul on Leonard down the right-hand side there. And we get to half-time. And strange half this, because Millwall laid the trap as if to sit back and then counter. Bristol City, as you can see by my comments, had most of the play, most of the possession, didn't create that much. As I say, Millwall's low block is narrow because their centre-halves are very good in the air. They will beat you in the air if you're just going to knock the ball into the box. That's the tactic. Seemed to work fairly well until Bristol City have that chance for Jeju. And then just for 5 minutes, Millwall kind of reverted to what they would do last season, where the big difference is the back four in the midfield, the further up the pitch, the press is a little bit more proactive rather than sitting back. And they got a goal from it. Meredith up the pitch. Fullbacks were always forward last season. We know when Millwall do go on the attack, those guys just get forward, and there's enough pressure and enough kind of directness to the play, and they get a goal from it. And then after that, really, Webster and Callis didn't have a good last 5 minutes at centre half for Bristol City, and it looked good for Millwall. That looked like the model for them to get into it in the second half. And I tweeted at half time, 45 minutes now or Bristol City's season is over. They need to get back into it. What is Lee Johnson going to do? I've moaned that they play without a playmaker, so he kind of puts one in here, as in Casey Palmer is going to go into the 10 position. Josh Brownhill's going to drop back into midfield with Marlon Pack, and Walsh, who was on a yellow card, goes off. Palmer adds a bit of physicality, a bit of drive. Okay, he's not Pablo Hernandez, Emi Buendia or Jack Grealish or anything like that, but it's a player in that position against a low block who's going to do a bit of dribble, got a bit more physicality about him. So I can see why Johnson did that. The substitution logically made sense to me, but Millwall start the second half well. Corner cleared. Tunnicliffe back through the crowd on 49. Gathered by O'Leary on 53. Unlucky here. Ferguson, left-footed corner from the left-hand side. Outswinger. Cooper is the master of set plays in the Championship, in most any division, I think, actually. Doesn't even need to jump here. Out muscles. Floats the header. Back across goal. Smacks off the post. They're all in there and it's scrambled away off the line. I'm looking at the ref. He points to his watch. Says no goal. Unlucky Millwall. Could have been 2-0. Hits the post. Another long straight one on 55. Through to Gregory. Does really well. He's a good player, Gregory, and he knows his job at Millwall. He knows how to play off the direct stuff. He knows how to do all of the hold-up stuff, and this is a really good example of that. He engages the defender, he waits, he sees Tunnicliffe coming, he knows he just has to buy a second or two, and he does that. He's got good upper body strength for a guy of his size. He feeds it to the right, Tunnicliffe into the box, the angle's a bit steep for him, and there's not enough conviction in this shot for me. Tries to go across O'Leary, doesn't get enough on that, and I think from that position out wide, this is just a case of smack this, hit the target, work the keeper. Has to be a really good shot. You'd expect a finisher to be able to put that shot across the keeper. I'm thinking of Adams at Birmingham would eat that one up, but Tunnicliffe is not Che Adams and didn't really have the conviction in his shot there. Millwall playing well though. Millwall on top. 57. Palmer takes a yellow, stopping a counter-attack here. Now here is Lee Johnson's key substitution. He's already made 2, one because of the injury, one on half-time to chase the game. So whatever I say about Lee Johnson and his streakiness, he went for it in this game. He knew that they're losing at half-time, and they really did have to go for this. There's no point sitting back. He put Palmer in. And on 61, very embarrassing for Pisano. But the right back who came on 21 minutes, or 29 minutes, so is going off on 61 minutes. And he's going to take one for the team here. Bit embarrassing. But they're going to go 3 at the back. And basically there would be 3 fullbacks on the pitch with this one. Taylor is going to come on. So Pisano goes off, and he's Chris Wilde it really. So Webster, Callis and Kelly back 3. Kelly tucks in. Vyman's going to play left wing back. Brownhill right wing back. They're midfielders really. It's a 3-4-3, isn't it? Patterson comes into centre midfield. Watch out for that later in the game. Pack obviously is going to sit there. Palmer off. Taylor and Jeju up front. So fair dues to Johnson. He goes for it, but come on, let's be honest, he had nothing to lose here. Had to win this game. Millwall playing well though, and it takes them a few minutes to just figure out and get their bearings, particularly people like Vyman playing left wing back. Started the game at right midfield. I've seen him play up front for Bristol City this season. Counter here. Gets to Gregory, 25 yards out. They've cut it out. 25 yarder. He puts that one over. Now Bristol City start to come into the game. Vyman down the left into Webster, who stays up from the corner. He comes to the near post. He's marked. He's under pressure and puts the volley over. But here's the key moment, because Bristol City have now gone for it. They've gone 3-4-3, whatever you want to call this system, and exactly the same. You could even transpose the goal from the first half. This time it's Jake Cooper. He's on the left. It's a diagonal into the box. Morrison pulls off. They're a bit deeper this time. Morrison again. He's a clever player. He's an important player here for their success last season, and he just nods it into no man's land. And Gregory is smart. He knows where this is going, and he really does a number on O'Leary here. He sees O'Leary coming. Who's going to win a foot race over a few yards in the penalty box? I'm backing the wily striker every time. Gregory sprints laterally across the box. He knows if he gets there first, he can do O'Leary and win a penalty here. That's exactly what he does. Toe end on it. O'Leary makes the contact. Down goes Gregory. Penalty. And surely they can wrap the game up here and do for Bristol City's promotion challenge. Williams is going to take it, steps up, left-footed, only a couple of steps. It's not in the corner, it's not off the ground, there's not any pace on it. O'Leary goes the right way, dives to his right, and makes the save. And if Bristol City make this unlikely playoff place, now the odds were really against them at this point, there's the key moment. Missed penalty at 1-0 down at Millwall on 71 minutes. Goodness me, because the next thing I have written down in my pad on 75 minutes, I think it might even be Williams again, and they go through the back. Forgive me, fact check me on this. I think it was Taylor trying to receive the ball with his back to goal. Down he goes, and it's a free kick 25 yards out around the D, just a little bit to the right, and Martin sets up the wall. It looks like he's setting it up for a left foot free kick here. It's just over, and you've got Taylor and you've got Patterson, and it's a similar length run up than Williams took for the penalty. Up steps Patterson, right footed. As I say, it's on the right hand side of the D. He curls it over the wall. Martin has stood himself to the right hand side of the goal, and it's a great free kick into the corner over the wall. Martin's not getting there. Good goal. 1-1. Bristol City from a great chance to go 2-0 up with the penalty. It's 1-1, and you can see the momentum of this game swinging into Bristol City's favour. Neil Harris makes a key move here on 77. He tries to match them up. So Meredith, the left back, comes off. On comes McLaughlin. He's going to play like a third centre-back. Romeo is going to play as a right wing-back. Shane Ferguson's going to play as a left wing-back. Just trying to match up what Bristol City are doing here. 79, they win a free kick, Millwall. Williams curls this one in from the left-hand side. Morrison is on his own at the back. He heads it across. Gregory, right-footed overhead kick, and I think it's Callis that makes the block back there. That shot was on target. As I say, Lee Gregory knows this job very, very well. And when scraps are there, he gets efforts on target. And I think he does a good job here, and I think they're going to miss him if he does go. But on 81 minutes, the comeback is complete, and Bristol City take the lead. And they had been bringing men forward, and Lee Johnson did go for it, and up they stride. It's a straight ball into Patterson, and I think it's a lovely little layoff, and it completely changes direction, changes trajectory. They've got men forward, and this is allowing Famara Jeju to just pull off onto the right hand side of the box, and he's got time, and time stands still for him. He sorts his feet out, lets the ball come across his body. It's on his right foot. We saw Tunnicliffe, not such a good position because he was further wide, but this is what I suggested he did, and all Jeju does is says, I've got one shot at this, I'm over to the right, I'm in the penalty area, 12 yards out. He's going to stick his foot through this, get as good contact as early as he can to give Martin as little chance as he get. He drives it with the right foot, and it flies past Martin into the net, and Bristol City have made the comeback. It's 2-1. They leap off the bench. The fans behind the goal go crazy, and they have done it, and they can make the challenge now for the playoffs on Sunday if they can see out the rest of this game. Tom Elliott warms up. A few Millwall fans around me not pleased to see Tom Elliott warming up. Let me know in the comments what the Millwall view is on Elliott there. Williams goes off, and it's kind of a 3-4-3 now from Millwall as well. Tunnicliffe comes into centre midfield, and you've got Morrison, Gregory and Elliott all up front here with, as we said, Romeo and Ferguson playing as wing back. So all very, very open now, but you can see Bristol City calm down, sit back a bit now. Palmer breaks out, fed through to Taylor though. He's caught them on the counter, into the box, shifts it to the right, pulls the trigger, and it's blocked out. Webster steps out on 89 for a long ranger that flies over. 3 minutes stoppage time, and they see it out, and Bristol City are still in the playoff chase. A very different first half to the second half. Millwall sat back in the first half, laid the trap, and it worked. A bit of a direct goal, but Morrison gets the header on. Great finish by Gregory. And really, I could well be sat here talking about a 2-0 Millwall win, because in the second half I thought they were the better side all the way up until that penalty. Lee Johnson is going to go 3 at the back. They win the penalty though, and Williams misses the penalty. That is the key moment here. They've gone to 3 at the back, and it only starts to work after that penalty miss. Great free kick by Patterson, and then Jeju sneaking in there. 2 goals there, 75 and 81, and really they just forced it. He put a lot of attacking players on. He really went for it, and did they get a bit lucky with the penalty miss and scoring a free kick goal? Well, you could say so, but you could say he who dares wins, Rodney. And Lee Johnson dared, and he won in this one. But really, the key moment there, 71 minutes, missed penalty. 4 minutes later, the equalising goal, and you know the rest of it, don't you? So Bristol City, they're not in great form. I just walking back to the car, looked at some of their recent results. They go to Hull, and they would be finishing with 2 straight wins, and they've got to hope that Derby are gonna record only 1 point in their last 2 games, and that Borough are going to do the same, only drawing. I think they're at Rotherham on the last day, Borough. Who have Derby got? Derby got West Brom. So there's a chance here. You might think Borough have got the easier game, but look, Derby have got this game in hand tomorrow night. It's all on this one. Derby win at Swansea, then it's pretty much all done anyway, and Bristol City can't catch them, and Borough would need a 3-point swing on the last day. So all up there to play for Bristol City, and I give Lee Johnson some credit. He tried to affect it by putting Palmer in at the start of the second half, and he went 3 at the back, got a bit lucky with the missed pen, but they got the win. In terms of Millwall, Neil Harris has struggled with this season. Obviously, they're brilliant last season. I can't forget, it was 7th or 8th they finished last season. Superb work, and it was always going to be a tough ask. You look at their spend, they're one of the lowest wage payers in the league. I think the transfer record's only 1 million. So we always need to remember that when we're talking about Millwall, and they're competing with Aston Villa and all the parachute teams, chucking 10, 12 million on one player. So always have that in the back of their mind. I think he needs to regenerate the team. I think he needs to build a new team now, doesn't he? Steve Morrison is a clever player, but how old is he now? 35, 36. And if Lee Gregory goes, they need to figure out what they're doing up front. And I don't know whether someone might come with some money for Jake Cooper purely on the old set play reputation there. I think there's a few bob to be had if they did want to sell. So very interested to see what Millwall do in the summer in terms of generating a new team. I think he's going to need to sell to bring players in. And if Gregory's contract is up, then there's going to be no money coming in there. So maybe those are the two. For Millwall and teams of their size to compete in this division is always impressive, to be honest. As I say, there'll be 3 teams come down, and the Premier League are going to give them all 45 million quid next season. That is what the teams who don't have parachute money are up against. So I heartily applaud Millwall and any team really of their size and their spend who is competitive in this division. So let's see what Harris does in the summer and see. I'll look forward to coming back to Millwall hopefully as early as I can in August or September next season and see what they do business wise. Bristol City fans, let me know in the comments. Thumbs up for Johnson today, I guess, and how do you see final day planning up? Millwall fans, I'm really interested. How do you think he turns this around in the summer to try and build a new team and maybe try and push up that table a little bit more? He set the bar so high last season, didn't he, Harris? Let me know what you think in the comments. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. Thumbs up and subscribe. I know my team Ipswich is down, but I will be staying here in the Championship next season. So if these 2 teams are there, well worth hitting that subscribe button, and I'll be following both unless Bristol City get in the playoffs and go up next season. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.